Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Frontrunners Innovate. And we have a face you may have seen before. And we're so happy that she's back with us and just delighted to have Princess Adewoyin with us. And she is out of Cape Verde and the executive director of the Education Center, Development Center, excuse me, the Education Development Center in Cape Verde. And wow, what she's been up to. We were just catching up because it's been a while since we've had a chance to have a conversation, but I've been following her a bit. She has been really moving mountains, and we're going to find out what mountains she has been moving in just a minute. But for those of you who have not met this fabulous lady, I want her to share a little bit about her background and what she's been doing to get to the point of this wonderful offering in Cape Verde for these young people. So, Princess, please share a little bit about how you came to do this.
Thank you so much, Mary. I'm so excited to be on this platform. Well, I'm Princess Adewoyin, the Executive Director of English Development Center. It's a non-governmental organization in Cape Verde, and it is focused on establishing quality and inclusive education for all, regardless of the age, the status, the race, the gender. It's for all. Okay, so at English Development Center, so far, we've been developing a lot of new curriculum to help encourage kids with special needs, kids that are handicapped and with special needs, to be able to, fit into education system, because we discovered that the normal curriculum doesn't work for everyone and everyone cannot learn at the same pace. So what we have developed is this: we use art as medium of instruction at English Development Center. We use art as medium of instruction for the teachers and as medium of instruction for the medium of learning for the students. So we teach all subjects: mathematics, English, you can think of science, using arts. We use designs, pictures, colors, music, dance, creativity, to teach. And it's been very, very effective. I tell you, the kids that even parents thought that, initially they thought, no, she's not intelligent, he's a nobody, he cannot do anything. Now they see that these kids are intelligent and they have exceptional gifts to offer the world. So this is what we've been doing at English Development Center. And also, recently we've become a partner of UNESCO. There is this group that is called Green Education Partners, and English Development Center is the first green education partner of UNESCO in Cape Verde. And that talks about, climate change, talks about being aware of our environment, being aware of the climate change and the effects on our foods, animals, our ecosystem, our lives in general. And now we can adapt and probably make a change. They said we cannot help the planet, but because we always say, please help the planet, make a change to the planet. But actually we are helping ourselves because we live in the planet. So that's what we've been doing. We've been teaching the kids, using the curriculum to teach and get them aware of the climate change. And of course, we're currently working on Spelling Bee, which is going to be on Saturday, 29th of June, 2024, a regional Spelling Bee where kids get aware of new curriculums, their meaning. We want to take it from the level of just being and just knowing a little bit about English to being profoundly informed where it comes to education and when it comes to English, because Cape Verde is a Portuguese-speaking country, and we're breaking the barriers and ensuring that they get acquainted with the language, the universal language, which is English language. So that's the update about Princess. And of course, I'm the ambassador of
the capsule. So,
okay.
Yeah, let's go back to the center itself. How many kids do you guys work with?
Currently, we have over 200 kids. I would say like 230 something. Yes, we have over 200
And what
kids.
ages?
From like 3 to 18 years, from preschool all through to high school. So yes, that's what we're doing.
What do you think how are they coming along with English, and what do you think they feel about learning a new language?
Oh, they are so excited about learning the new language, and they love it because we actually use this system. We use a bilingual system to teach English. And that what I mean is this: we use the Cape Verdean language. Of course, the official language is Portuguese, but we have a Creole language. We use it to teach English. This is something that is missing in most schools. In most schools, they tell the kids, no, don't speak another language except English in the class. And this is the language that they are not familiar with, and the teacher teaches from, from the beginning to the end of the class, and they don't know anything. They just don't know anything about the language. So what we do is this: we use Creole and English to teach English. And do you know that we teach all the verbs? Grammar, my kids love grammar. With Teacher Princess, they love grammar because I use the 12, we have 12 grammar, we have the 12 verb tenses in English language. And I always tell them, we have all these tenses to in Creole. And they say, really? Yes. And we take all these tenses, I begin to teach them, I begin to use the Creole language and compare it with the English language, and it becomes so easy for them. And now they love English language. And I bet you we have a lot of students, I mean, all our students that have been taking the TOEFL and the IELTS exams and the tests, we don't have below the best. We have most of them, if not all, they are always between, the test is between, it's over 120, and we have kids with 115, 118, I'm telling you, 118, 120, and so on and so forth. So it's been the best for us. And it's been a wonderful experience learning that our kids love English language, and they see it as their second language. The next language after their mother tongue is English language.
That's marvelous. So the mission then of the English Development Center, of course, would be to teach them English. And so you want them to come out and graduate with that capability. But what underlying that mission, what is the purpose, do you think what is the purpose of making sure that they can speak English?
Excellent. I've discovered that Cape Verdean kids are very intelligent. And when I mean Cape Verdeans, I'm not just talking about the kids, I mean even the adults, the women. Of course, at English Development Center, we teach kids, we teach adults, we teach professionals, we teach English for aviation, English for law enforcement agency. We have business English, we teach adults too and professionals. So what we discovered is that Cape Verdeans are very, very smart, intelligent, and creative. But this language barrier has not been able to take them beyond the four walls of Cape Verde, or beyond the four walls of countries that speak Portuguese. And we know that they are very creative. They have potentials of going around the world. So this is what motivated me, because we know that English is a universal language and it is a business language. And for them to move beyond where they are to where they want to be and where they want their vision to go, of course, English must be there. So this is the passion behind English Development Center. And English, we believe that English language, of course, education is a right of everyone, regardless of color, of race. So, of course, English language also, English language education is the right of Cape Verdean kids.
Well stated. I like it.
Thank you.
So from the standpoint of the organization itself, where do you see the organization going? And then the children, once they graduate from the center, where do you hope that they land after that? I mean, is there any plan for helping them beyond that?
Of course.
So tell us what you plan.
Absolutely. In the past 3 years, we've had students that are graduated from English Development Center using our curriculum. And after writing their TOEFL and IELTS test, they've been able to gain admission into universities in America, in United Kingdom, and countries of the world where English is spoken. There are also, some of them are also in Portugal, but they attend universities that use English. They speak English and they use English to teach. So this is the idea behind English Development Center. It's to be able to project these kids to the world and what they have to offer and their vision. So, and of course, with art as medium of instruction also, it's to help the kids with special needs to go beyond just where they are. Sometimes they are just there in classes. And the idea about social inclusion is what we are fulfilling at English Development Center, because in Africa today, in the world today, we talk about social inclusion, but what we see is just integration. We just integrate them into the classes. We put them there with the other kids, the normal kids, so that they don't feel left out. But the teachers don't know how to teach them and how to carry them along. So this is the barrier we're breaking to make sure that they are not just integrated, but they feel included in the system. They can learn and bring out something profitable. And of course, we've had some kids with special needs graduates from English Development Center, and some of them are in Cambridge University today. Some of them are in Harvard. We've been able to break this barrier, and I'm so excited. And beyond that, of course, we want to move forward to ensure that it's not just the kids, and it's not just the community of Praia or Palmarejo Praia, but on a national level in Cape Verde and beyond the national level, maybe continent of Africa and globally.
Big vision. I like big vision. Well, you mentioned that with the spelling bee that you wanted to do that regionally, and then you want to do it nationally. So that's good. And who knew around here, spelling bees are a big thing. They're big fundraisers. They get big publicity. So good for you. Maybe that'll happen there.
Thank you very much.
But from the direction that you're heading with the students and where you want to be, so where do you think the whole organization is heading? Because you've got some connections to UNESCO. Tell us about the partnerships that you have in a minute here too. But you also, you've got the Federation of International Gender and Human Rights sort of background too, where you have some advocacy work that you've been doing there. So where are you landing in the next year? Do you think that takes that pathway forward for the center and the organization behind it? There's the physical center. I want to make sure people understand there's that. And then there's the organization that drives that. So
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Regarding the organization, it's beyond Cape Verde. What we see is beyond Cape Verde. We're starting with Cape Verde because that is where we are. So you start with what you have and you start with where you are. That has always been my ideology behind whatever vision you have in life. Start with where you have, start with what you have. And of course, we're thinking of moving beyond the Cape Verde. Currently, indirectly, we've moved beyond Cape Verde because, of course, we do online classes for people, and we have students from Pakistan, Malaysia, different parts of the world, and they are students of EDC. They are virtual students of EDC. So indirectly, we've moved from the four walls of Cape Verde. But beyond that, we want to see EDC projects globally, like Green Education Partnership that we have with UNESCO, for example, and UNICEF. It talks about, something, it's something new that UNESCO and UNICEF is trying to inculcate into the curriculum, the education in the world. And we are excited about this because, of course, we know that climate change is global. I mean, in Cape Verde, we used to have 2 seasons. We used to have the rainfall and we used to have the dry season. But in the past 3 years, there hasn't been rain in Cape Verde, but we've been surviving. We've been eating healthy food. I mean, yesterday I still got delicious mangoes around the streets, and they are so delicious. And I was asking one of my students, how are we making it? How are we surviving it without the rain for the past 4 years? And she said she doesn't know, but she believes that it's a miracle. So we want to get the students to be conscious of the climate change. And this is something that I believe that UNESCO is trying to put into the curriculum. And we're excited that we're part of this project. So we want to go globally, It's beyond just Cape Verde. I believe I've been able to answer the question.
You did. Well, you brought up a couple of more. So thank you. Does Cape Verde as a federal entity, I feel sure they probably have their own mission toward the UN SDGs, but particularly towards climate, because every state and country does. But do they have by, say, 2035 or 2036, or whenever it is, what they need to be doing with the climate situation? I mean, and of course you fit into that. That's what I was getting at with this. New
excellent.
Program.
That's a very good question. Yes, Cape Verde is absolutely and 100% in line with the UN SDGs when it comes to climate change. I mean, recently, I don't know, I'm not sure if it is the UN or the ECOWAS, they discovered a place in Cape Verde when it comes to biodiversity. And they discovered that this particular island, it's called Mayo Island. Mayo means May, the month of May, but it's named after the month of May. Mayo Island has the richest, the richest environment when it comes to biodiversity in Africa. So, and yes, And when it comes to the islands too, Cape Verde, each island is different from the other. I mean, on Santiago Island, for example, is different from Boa Vista, is different from Mayo. Each island is peculiar. I mean, what you find in Boa Vista, for example, you find turtles, different turtles, beautiful turtles, colorful turtles. I mean, turtles with wonderful colors. There was one I saw recently in a friend's house, she works with the UN. And I thought it was a toy, because it was very beautiful and colorful. I almost grabbed it and then it shook and, moved. And I was like, what? And she said, yes, I got this from the island of Sal or Boa Vista. So each island is peculiar. For example, in Praia, we have a peculiarity in Sal. So when it comes to climate change, we are being aware of this and we're really working on it. And recently, the government is talking about the blue economy, the green economy. They are really investing in this and they're working in collaboration with the United Nations when it comes to this.
Fantastic. So I can see how you know that, so that you are fitting into the gap where the education piece needs to fit. So to educate the young will then educate their own young as they grow up and get older. So it's a generational thing. Speaking of education and generational learning, one of the things that I've tripped across in, working with some of the smaller countries, and especially island countries or whatever, that seem to be a little remote from a lot of the other mainland, bigger landlocked or land-based areas, would be digital literacy. And I wanted to ask you about that. How is that as far as a status with your education programs? Are you including that, or is that something that you're looking at?
Of course, digital education. Actually, digital education was part of what motivated us to start English Development Center. English Development Center had been in existence before the pandemic, but like the normal school, like a vocational school. But during the pandemic, a lot of schools were closing up, because of this stay-at-home, commandment. Yes, all over. So we had to stay at home. But then we thought that, students can just be like that, stay for, we don't know how long we're going to be staying that time. So we decided to go online and we included digital education into our system. And ever since then, it's been part of our structure because and then while other schools were, closing up and failing, that was the heat of it for us. We actually hit it at that time, and we had lots of students coming from all over the world. And it was, it was a peak for us at that time. And it was the start, I don't know how to say it, was like we emerged. It was the start of our emergence when it comes to emerging when it comes to English Development Center. And of course, digital education is also part of the system of Cape Verde. They don't joke with digital education. We teach the kids. We have information technology as courses, and of course, we use it as a medium of education to here in Cape Verde. Of course, we teach even students in Cape Verde. We teach online classes sometimes because of the distance. Sometimes they're busy with something, and then we just go online. So digital education is perfect for us, and it's what we love. And of course, we want to move higher and higher.
Yeah. So let's kind of wind up on talking about the partnerships that you already have other than UNESCO that you have, and maybe some that you might be looking for, what types of partners that you have and what types of partners you're looking for.
Okay, yes, of course. With the UNESCO, we have Green Education Partnership. I took a course about between last year and April this year with UNITA, that is United Nations that is responsible for education, and it has to do with financial literacy, gender equality, and has to do with empowerment of women. And in the process, I was able to share my vision when it comes to English Development Center and the fact that we're using arts as medium of instruction. And that was just it for them. They were just like, wow. And I was interviewed too, and I guess it will be on their website very soon. They are working on that. And they were like, this is something that they were the ones that actually brought out that passion in me. They said, this is something that should move from your local level or your national level in Cape Verde to a global level. I mean, you are solving the problem. They actually told me, Princess, you are solving the problem of social inclusion where kids with special needs are concerned. I mean, we have blind kids, I'm talking about all kind of kids at English Development Center, not just kids with autism. We're talking about kids with physical deficiency too. And we're trying to solve this using art as a medium of learning and instruction. And that's another partnership we're heading towards. And we pray and hope that we will move from the local level, the national level, to a global level. And of course, it has to do with funds. It has a lot to do because at English Development Center, we need to get some materials, you know, for the blind kids, they have their special materials they use. For kids that are deaf and dumb, we have so many. So these are the things that we are really investing a whole lot of funds into to get the kids, you know, inculcated into the system and into, so that we don't want anybody to be left behind. Everybody should feel at home. It should be an environment where everyone feels they have a sense of belonging. Thank you.
And I can see how that is a model for other countries, particularly all over your continent, but just anywhere. Because I think every continent has issues with that somewhere along the way, is figuring out how to deal with that. It's just, it's just a problematic thing, all the way around. One of the things that I think about is the fact that, I serve on the Governor's Advisory Council for Aging. And what I think about is the fact that, sometimes they are the outcasts as well because of, handicaps or, not being able to do certain things. And so they're kind of cast aside just like the younger people are. And so that inclusivity, I was having a conversation with somebody who's doing a development project not long ago. And one of the things I said, well, you're going to have to make it this, particularly this way or this way to accommodate, if you want it mixed generational, you're going to have to accommodate those people who can't walk upstairs so easily, or that have a different mode of transportation here or there, so you really have to think, accommodate, all sorts, not just the average person you think that can walk, can see, can talk correctly. I don't know if we talked about this before or not too, but I do remember interviewing a gal who was the teacher of the year one time. And the reason why she received that award, if you want to call it that, or that recognition, was because she was running a welcome center in a school system in, of all places, I want to say it was in Oregon or Seattle, Washington or something. It was a place where you would not have assumed there would be a whole lot of immigrants. But there were kids coming into that school that could not speak English. And so it was her job to take them in and get them ready to assimilate into the regular classroom. And so to get them prepared in whatever subjects and to be able to speak enough of the language to be able to go into a regular classroom, but also culturally to try to get over that hump of this is, and how scary it would be. So, there are interesting things that you have to think about and how frightening it is for somebody to step outside their comfort zone and be included in that social inclusion program that you're doing. So you got to fight that first or deal with that first, and then you can actually teach them. You got to get that psychological piece going. So what I love about that is dance and music and all of that does that. One of the things that I learned in talking to somebody who dealt with dementia is he said that the piece of the brain or the place in the brain that where dementia occurs is not the same side of the brain that the creative side is. So a lot of times you'll find somebody with dementia that can play piano beautifully or that can paint like you wouldn't believe. I mean, I knew a gentleman with full-out Parkinson's who painted like you wouldn't believe. I own 2 of his paintings here in my house. Gorgeous. When I show them to people, they say, I can't believe somebody with Parkinson's did that. I said, honey, you wouldn't believe the work he's done. But different part of the brain did that. And
Exactly.
yeah, so when you start thinking about the kids that you've got, different side of the brain maybe is happening in some
Mm.
of that, some of the situations you've got. So good for
And
you for
that
noticing
creative part
that.
is, yeah.
Yeah.
And I said that creative part is so amusing and amazing because it's beyond what's it's beyond ordinary. It's always extraordinary. All those kids, I
Mhm.
mean, all the kids at English Development Center with special needs are very, very creative. I mean, we have a blind student that sings. Oh my goodness, his voice is exceptional. We have someone that cannot speak very well. She paints, and it's exceptional.
Yeah.
They have these extraordinary gifts that
Yes.
I think it's necessary for us to focus us on and help them, I don't know how propagate
Develop.
it to the world.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think that's the critical piece. You're using that creative side to bring out in them what God gave them as a gift. And they're able to move that forward.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
Yes.
fantastic. I applaud you. That's wonderful work that you're doing. And partnerships,
Thank you.
what do you're looking for more partners? You need sponsors for the spelling bee, I'm sure. And
Absolutely.
yeah, and
Absolutely.
they can get to you through me if they need to, but they
Of
can also,
course.
you have a website, I'm sure, so we will
Yes.
provide that for them. And
Yes. Yes.
yes, and we will make sure that they get that. So anybody that's tuning in right now, if you see this in any one of, or hear this in any one of your podcast channels, if you'll go to frontrunnersinnovate.com, you'll get this interview and a little bit about Princess and also some information about the center and ways to connect with her. So definitely connect with her, sponsor if you can, become a partner if you can, and help out some of these young people that are learning, especially the ones that the disabled ones that she's working with that really could use that extra boost. So this is wonderful. Let's just say the
Thank
unique
you.
young people that she's working
Yes.
with.
The
Let's
unique.
call it that. So
Exactly.
that's
Yes.
fantastic. So thank you,
Thank
Princess,
you.
very much. We appreciate that. Until next time when we get a bigger update where you already have gone global, really more so than you are now, then we will wish you the best and say blessings to
Thank
you
you.
and everybody that you're working with over there in Cape Verde. So thanks very much. Stay with me.
Thank you very
Everybody else.
much. Thank you. Bye. Bye.